Hi Sagittarius, Sun, Moon, Ascendant, or Venus. This is Dane, and I'm going to be doing your April 2021 full moon reading for you. Now I ask if this reading resonates with you, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and also to subscribe to my channel. And if you would like to be notified whenever I upload new videos, and I upload all the time, just hit the bell notification button. And if you're interested in any of the cards that I'm using, they will be listed and linked in the description box below. Now let's clear the energy space, raising our own energy vibration and releasing any negativity. So take a nice deep breath in, exhaling whenever it feels comfortable for you. Releasing all negativity from the body like storm clouds. Letting yourself feel calm, centered, and at peace as we enter into this safe and loving space. Let's let the bulls sing as we see what the tarot has to say. How will Sagittarius be affected by the April 2021 full moon? How will Sagittarius be affected by the April 2021 full moon? How will Sagittarius be affected by the April 2021 full moon? Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading. And show me clearly, angels and spirit guides. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading. And show me clearly, angels and spirit guides, angels and spirit guides. Fantastic. Now the left-hand side is our inner self. The middle is our heart, our emotional self. The right-hand side, the public arena, the public self. So let's see what the tarot has to say. We start off with the Page of Cups, which is absolutely beautiful. This links us to the full moon in Scorpio, because the full moon is, of course, in Scorpio. So it's going to be a learning moon for us, which links us to our happiness. The Scorpio energy comes right out, because Scorpio is, of course, represented by the Death card in the major arcana, and by the Cups in the minor arcana. So you have both coming forward. This is going to be a time of really looking at what we love, what we desire, what we want. The Five of Cups, change our minds, change our lives, but there is going to be a tendency during this time to really focus on the lack, what we don't have, instead of turning around and seeing our blessings, which is interesting because this moon brings so many blessings forward. We then have the Page of Wands, Sagittarius. This is us coming through. Again, as a student, we're crowned now with 2 students. These can also be children, a water sign energy or a fire sign energy, or a child who's very sensitive, a child who's very passionate and energetic and outgoing. So this can be those 2 elements, those 2 children coming to the forefront of ourselves and our lives. This could even be us, like, as we were growing, the different stages that we went through, or who we were, who we are. Then we have the Magician, the Hermit, which is Virgo energy, time frame of August 23rd to September 22nd. Scorpio time frame is, of course, October 23rd to November 21st. Then we have the Emperor, which is Aries time frame, March 21st to April 19th. We have the Six of Wands celebration, the Page of Swords, which is air sign energy, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. Again, another child card or another student card, or it's not or, it's and another student card. And then we have the World. And then we have Seven of Pentacles, which is saying be patient, which I know we never like to hear, but it's going to be important. And it is. Now, what's really interesting, Sagittarius, is that on the 26th of May, we have the full moon in Sagittarius coming forward. So that is going to be really beautiful for us. That's that energy is going to be super intense, super powerful, because we're going to be in our own element. So knowing that as we get closer to the 26th of May, and of course the full moon in April is on the 26th of April, we're going to find that more of our things start to have a bigger impact on us. More of our personality starts to shine through, more of what we're frustrated with, more of what we're elated with. We can have these extremes come very powerfully and very easily. Okay, so just being mindful of that. And we're going to start off with seeing what the moon has to say for herself. So let's see here. For you, Sagittarius, let's see. And what's beautiful about this moon is that it's called the pink moon, which is my favorite color. But the pink moon is named by the Native Americans because this is a time where the flowers would start to bloom, and beauty and vibrance will come back to the world after hibernation. So that is it's such a beautiful moon. It is such a beautiful moon. It's such a beautiful energy of awakening, of beauty and the erotic of life, not only the sexual but the also desire of the heart and the passion of the soul and the place that we really want to be within our life. And that's going to be coming up more and more within ourselves. It's like, I can't be quiet. I can't like step back and just think, oh, okay, it'll be fine. It's like, no, I need to be working towards and heading towards the dreams of my soul and the power of myself. Okay. So we have here abundance. I love it. Will and assessing. Makes sense. Change comes in. Self-reflection and creation. Now, again, this full moon in Scorpio is intense. It's a supermoon. And what's really going to be interesting is that this is a supermoon. The last moon, which was in Libra, was almost a supermoon. We were almost there. We didn't quite make it. But the energy was still, was still heightened. And then we have the full moon in Sagittarius, which is a supermoon and an eclipse. So that energy is going to be off the charts. So during this time, when we see ourselves moving towards abundance, this is also because so many issues that have been holding us back start to be purged. So the Scorpio full moon, okay, Scorpio is ruled by Pluto. Pluto is about the process of evolution and metamorphosis. It brings death, rebirth, and regeneration to the forefront. And that is something we've been living through, during this time period, through our lives right now, especially. And this is a time where issues about trust and, control and power start to come up and start to be dealt with. It's like, well, what has the control over me? Where do I put my trust? Why do I put my trust there? What do I desire? What do I need? Who am I? And where do I want to be? So it makes us look at abundance in a very different way, a very real way, and a very powerful way. And it's also going to make us look at what makes me happy. Not what the world tells me I should be happy with or how I should be happy, but what makes me happy for me. And then that moves us from abundance to will, to having this determination, this, this focus, this sense of, this is what I want, this is what I need, this is where I'm headed, I'm standing before the altar of my existence, I'm going after what I desire. The will is strong. We're assessing situations because we don't want to kind of run out half blind. We just don't. We want to be able to look at things. But remember, during this time, okay, the full moon is squared Saturn in Aquarius with the Sun, Mercury, and Venus, all conjunct Uranus. So what this means is that Saturn is about stoicism. So when we're assessing the situation, we're going to first want to think of stoicism, want to think of, I can handle everything. Scorpio is going to be more like step back, look at things, kind of see what you need, see what you don't need. Are you being too harsh on yourself? But the Saturn energy that's coming in, it's kind of like, I can handle it all on myself, all by myself, all, for myself. Especially if this is how we were raised as children. If we were raised to think, I have to handle it, buck up, keep going, type of mentality, that's going to come through. And this is going to be a time where we look at it because it's being balanced by Aquarius energy, which is more caring, more nurturing. It moves us towards self-contemplation and also the eccentric. It's kind of like, why can't I be more me? So we start to assess things differently. And we can go from one extreme to the other extreme with ourselves during this time. So we have to look at things and be open and honest and powerful. And then it moves us to change. Now we're going to want to change the whole entire world. We're going to want to kind of tear everything down and say, build again. But this is a time where that sort of change, though powerful, is not what we need at this time. What we need is to step back and say, what do I desire? What do I want? What am I longing for? Where do I want to be? Sometimes taking action, and going out is so much easier than turning in and saying what's missing. What's the part of the story within my own life that I'm not having filled, that isn't being fulfilled within my existence, and which is forcing me to think, okay, you know what, I just have to bulldoze things forward, because we see sorrow, we see sadness, we see heartbreak, we see pain, we see disappointment. But if we turn around, we can see beauty, we can see extravagance, we can see, lusciousness in life. And then we have self-reflection. We are turning inward, and we're also embracing our might and our power and our focus. And we're looking at who it is that we are, where it is that we want to be. This is also important because when we have Uranus coming into play, and of course, again, Uranus is conjunct the Sun, Mercury, and Venus. Okay, well, the Sun, Mercury, and Venus are conjunct Uranus. What this means is that this heightens the disruptions within our world. So Uranus has us looking at things and has us saying, well, that's wrong. Oh, that's not right. Oh, I can't do this. Because it's bringing out all our insecurities, all our heartbreaks, all our pains, all our disappointments. And what's happening is with the Sun in Taurus, we're going to want a practical approach to everything. And we're going to think, okay, if I can just be practical and steady and steadfast, and we're going to forget about the sensuality of Taurus that can't be ignored, that needs to be brought forward. It then moves us to Mercury, which is all about communication, the urge to communicate, the urge for self-expression. Well, now it's bringing up all the bad things, right? All the disruptions, all the quakes, And so here, there's a sense of, well, how can I move past that? Like, how can I make myself understood? Because it's getting to be so hard. And it's not making anything, it's kind of stepping out. And what happens is, as we step back, we then look at Venus, okay, which is having the disruptions brought up within the heart, within love, within romance, within the love for ourselves, our private emotional state and emotional side. And it's like, okay, where do I want to be? And what we're having highlighted during this time is what we don't want. And we can think, well, that's just what I'm going to be getting, infinitum, till time ends. And why do I even bother? Why do I even try? It's like there's more here than that. And there's more to life than that. So the self-reflection is going to come in. And at first we're going to be astoundingly critical of ourselves. But if we step back, we can see something beautiful. And we can see that beauty starting to come around us. And I'm just going to move my camera just a little bit. Awesome. And the creation comes forward. Now we have to be patient with the creation, because at one point we can see the whole world open up to us in this way where it's almost like we're given a vision. It's like, I can see it. But then the creative energy comes forward and the practicality comes to it, and we have to be patient with its development, and we can get very discouraged. So here we have to be mindful of that. But we also know that creation is going to be, and creating is going to be so important to us. But also the act of things being created, things being awakened, things being emboldened, like the colors becoming more vibrant, the flowers awakening, from their slumber. This is going to be a time where we're like, oh, I forgot that beauty. And it's been so easy to forget the beauty. And now it's going to be just so important to come back to it. So this moves us then, from this little overview from the moon, it moves us to the full moon in Scorpio. And the full moon in Scorpio, as the full moon always states, it says, surrender to the divine. Why? Because it's spotlighting our life. Because it's illuminating everything. And so if we surrender to the divine, if we say, kind of, thy will be done, to get kind of religious on us, or to use a religious phrase, we're going to see that there is more here than meets the eye. There is more of a power and a grace and a purpose and a dedication that comes forward. And it starts to lead us, and it brings us to knowing it's time to release the negative. And we know that. And what's more is we've been knowing that. We've been knowing that the negative, the power that feels like cement on my feet, has been pulling me down for too long. And what this is this is a time where we start to look at our cycle of inner growth, okay? And start to look at what we truly desire. We start to release the resistance to change, because we had the moon say, change is coming. And it's not going to, again, be that huge, like, external change. It's going to be more of an internal change. It's going to be like, you know what, I'm going to take the keys and I'm going to go out. You know, I'm going to go for a walk, or I'm going to try something new that I've always wanted to try. And it's like, now's the time. Life is short and life is sweet and life is beautiful and painful and everything in between. Now's the time to embrace living it to its fullest, and to release the negativity that has held us back and kept us small and kept us quiet. And then it moves us to the supermoon. And the supermoon says emotions are running high. Well, of course, emotions are running high. Everything is amplified. And then there is attraction. What we focus on is what we attract to ourselves. So if we're focusing on the blessings come. But we'll have a tendency during this time, as we turn inward, even though there's this alignment for such beauty to come in, we're going to look at the pain, we're going to look at the hurt, we're going to look at the disappointments, the angers, the upsets, the upheavals, and think, that's all I have, and that's all I'll ever have. And as somebody who has walked with darkness, okay, it isn't the end. It isn't the end. There's a power and there's a way forward, and sometimes it is unconventional, but it is still beautiful. And that's what this moon is also going to show us. We don't have to do things the way everybody else does things. We don't have to be the way everybody else is. It is time to express and be and become exactly what is desired within our hearts. And it moves us then to the new moon in Taurus, which the sun is in. So the sun in Taurus during this time is practical and down to earth and steady Eddie, and it's really great, right? This is a moon this is a sun where we can feel safe. And the moon starts bringing up the fears and the doubts and the little bit of the nightmares and the sense of, am I secure here? It's kind of like everything that happens at night, or not everything that happens at night. It's like when you were a child and it's time to go to bed, and you're certain that there are monsters under your bed or in your closet, or you just watch something spooky and you think, oh my gosh, I can be transported to another country from my closet and never seen again. I watched something like that when I was little. It just scared the life out of me. And so here, when we're looking at things, we want the steadiness of the sun, but we have the mystery of the moon coming forward, and they're going to be very powerful energies. But the thing that both of these energies have, of the sun and of the moon, is that they both have the sensuality. They both have the erotic coming forward, which is so important. So Scorpio has the erotic in the love of mystery and adventure and sex and expression. And Taurus has the erotic coming forward in the sense of sensuality, in the sense of beauty, in the sense of steadiness that needs to also be loved and nurtured and grow forward from touch. So during this time, a new start is coming, a new beginning is coming. We're seeing how the mysteries and the fears can also bring forward the steadiness or can also work with the steadiness and the stability. So, there is a sense here of a new start coming, new beginnings coming, because prosperity lies ahead. It's like no longer am I going to stand back and just think that it's all going to fall apart. It's all going to fail. It's like, now it's my time. It's my time to take the bull by the horns. It's my time to go after what I want. People might say, I'm like a bull in a china shop, or I'm so stubborn. That's because I am during this time. Period. End of discussion. Scorpio, we will be stubborn and we will be tenacious, and we will kind of, want to break with convention, but also use that convention that is right for us at the time. And so this is a dance that starts to come forward. And then it leads us to Sagittarius energy, which this is Scorpio. It's Sagittarius. So during this time, it leads us to Sagittarius energy, which is heightens all of us during this time. It's just so intense and so powerful. And all of a sudden, we are who we are. So the Scorpio moon, the Taurus sun, the Taurus new moon, they all start to come in, and they all play on our strengths and on our weaknesses so beautifully and so intensely and so powerfully. And then this has us looking at the bigger picture. This has us looking towards what we truly want. And with the eclipse, that it's going to have a bigger effect on us than it is going to have on others. We're going to start to see conclusions are within reach. We're going to start to see answers start to come our way. We're looking at what we are taking aim at. But, in archery, we had this preconceived notion that an archer lined up and they shot, right? Or they shot from horseback, but it was always something very, very controlled and didn't have the movement to it that it actually does. There is this one person who's proving everybody wrong, and he's studied the bow for ever. And he is proving that the bow and the man can be almost interchangeable, like they become one in the other. And so here there is this sense of the power of movement as we take aim towards what is desired, what is wanted, what is needed, and what we search for. Now, during this time, especially if we're born on the cusp with Scorpio, or if we have Scorpio within our chart, that is going to come up more intensely for us because of the moon and because we have it playing out so brilliantly within the tarot here, Sagittarius. But there is a sense here of taking aim towards what is needed, what is desired, and what is wanted. And that starts to open up our world and ourselves. And it leads us to the spirit animals. Now, the spirit animals for April are the wolf spirit and the hawk spirit. And the wolf spirit says, turn knowledge into wisdom, which is what life is all about. The ability to turn the knowledge that we accumulate into the wisdom that we live by, which sounds so easy, but is so hard. And it's also with something that isn't respected within our world. You know, we think, oh, it has to be this way. Or as we get older, you know, we lose youth, which is what everybody seems to value the most, and we become invisible. And that is wrong. That is just absolutely positively wrong. There's a sense here of being able to have the wisdom of years and of gravitas and of, you know, stability and security. Not stability and security, but like of the soul and of the self coming forward. So that knowledge turns into the wisdom that we live by, Sagittarius. And it becomes this sense of sharpening our intellect, deepening our sense of self, but also our sense of connection and our need for freedom and our strong instinctual desire to know, where do we stand? Where do we stand within this world? But also, where do we stand within the pack of our existence? If we think of it as a wolf pack, do we have a pack or are we a lone wolf? And we tend to romanticize the idea of the lone wolf in our culture or in our world. And the fact of the matter is, if you study wolves and you have a lone wolf, that wolf is not going to be the healthiest. That wolf is going to be more stressed. It's not going to have somebody to sing with, which adds to the stress, but adds to the sorrow also. And there's a sense of fear and doubt. So here, it's like we need a community. We need a group. And we need that connection. So even if it's starting off with just having that connection with spirit, or starting to do something like a pen pal and sitting down and writing a letter to somebody and just being able to share the words, to share a private time when we put our thoughts onto paper and bring them forward, you know, to existence. This is a time to trust our knowledge and to trust that that knowledge turns into wisdom and that we are seeing where we belong and why we belong there and where we want to be. It moves us towards the hawk spirit, which says, let spirit be your guide. And spirit is to be our guide because the hawk spirit is symbolic of the messenger of the spirit world. So all of a sudden, spirit is guiding us because it's bringing us messages. You can also see clearer and fly higher than we ever can. It's about power and focus and clear vision and awakening the spiritual and letting the spiritual be a part of our lives. Now it moves us to the spirit animals of May, which are the Beaver spirit and the Elk spirit. And of course, I didn't have an elk in my deck. I only had an antelope. So it's standing in rather nicely. And the Beaver spirit says, lay a solid foundation. Lay a solid foundation for what you want. Don't have your house built on sand. It is laying that foundation for what we desire and what we need and what we long for and what we're looking for. It's time to trust our creativity. Accomplishment through cooperation is so important. This isn't going to be a time where we can just do everything by ourselves. So there is going to be a part of our hearts that says, I need the quiet. I need the introspection. I need to see where I stand and why I stand here. That is going to be very important for us. But as we lay this foundation, we start to see things. And this becomes a time where we can jumpstart our motivation, jumpstart our creativity, jumpstart what we desire, because the beaver, if anything, you know, gets the job done. It moves us to the elk spirit. Now, the antelope standing in says life is speeding up. But the elk spirit tells us we're entering into a time of plenty. And that's one of the reasons why life is speeding up, because we're entering into this time of plenty. And everything you need, you will get. And it is different than saying everything you want, you will get. Everything you need, you will get. And that is going to be powerful, and that's going to be different. It is going to be different because what we need is going to be provided. And it can be provided in a very kind of left-handed, backhanded sort of way, but it is going to come forward. And now let's see here what the chakra energy for this time has to say, and where we will be a little bit more vulnerable than we're used to being. Holistic health, the root chakra. This is a time where we might find that we need a little extra boost, a little extra care and attention to ourselves. Holistic health, I love holistic health. It's looking at things differently. It's looking at the foods that we are eating. It's looking at the rest that we're getting. It's looking at the way that we're living and saying, how is this contributing to my health, to myself? Also, how can I be holistically me? How can I embrace my beauty, my power, my gifts? How can I stay true to myself and still move forward in this world and still get to what I want and see what I desire? So the holistic health, the sense of looking at things through healing eyes instead of through fighting eyes, that's going to be very important. And then it moves us to the energy we have to be mindful of during this time. Angels and spirit guides. The Princess of Cups. Now, the Princess of Cups is in the Rider-Waite-Smith deck. It is the Page of Cups. So during this time, we're going to have to be mindful of, first of all, it's somebody acting like a princess. It's going to be somebody who demands a lot of our time, a lot of our energy, a lot of our effort, can be astoundingly needy, astoundingly overwhelming. This could be a child, and that's what children are, especially if they're young. But there is also the sense here of just being very aware of who is demanding our attention and why, who is always needing our time and why. And it moves us then right into the Rider-Waite-Smith version of the Princess of Cups to the Page of Cups. And the Page of Cups is getting information and ideas from just unbelievable places. And that's what this moon is going to align with us, because we're having to face so much, because we're having to see so much. All of a sudden, we're looking at things so differently, and we're going to have our minds opened in a way that they hadn't been before. And we're going to see things in a new light, in a new way. The waters run deep during this time. And there is a sense of wanting more, of looking at more, of asking the deeper questions, of seeing what we desire, of looking at things more truthfully, more honestly for ourselves, but also not being afraid, as this time is showing us, not being afraid to push the barriers, not being afraid to open up the doors, not being afraid to say, there's more here. There's more here than I realize. And it's going to be very interesting, because these moons for us during this time, Sagittarius, we have our back to the Page of Cups. So at times we're going to have our back to a lot of the emotional gifts that come our way, because we're going to be a little bit focused on the practicality of it all. What can I grow? What can I plant? What can I have? Where do I need to pay attention now? And this is saying to us, slow down and look at what is desired by heart and soul and self. And it moves us to the Ten of Cups. It moves us to our happily ever after. The happily ever after, the children echoing the dress of the parents, the joy, the success, the bounty. There is a sense of things coming full circle. And it doesn't mean that it has to be something earth-shattering right away that comes full circle. But we can start to learn something. Something can start to be realized. The door can start to be opened. And it's like, that's what I wanted. Like, that's the missing piece. That's what I needed. Or we can start looking at our happiness, and instead of listening to everybody else, start listening to ourselves and saying, oh, well, maybe I can be happy this way. And maybe it's not the conventional way. And maybe it's not the way that I had, dreamed when I was little. But it is the way that works for me now that I am older and wiser. There's a sense of looking at what the soul wants and saying, this is the direction that I'm headed. This is the way I get to live my life. And it raises us up. It's going to raise, if we embrace the Ten of Cups. And I highly suggest either getting a picture of the Ten of Cups and putting it on the lock screen on your phone or on your background, or, if you have a deck, just kind of putting it on your mirror so that you can look at it every single day, or by your alarm clock or wherever, or your nightstand, just so you can see happiness and joy and success and prosperity and realize this isn't some abstraction. This is something I'm working towards. This is something I want within my life. This is something that is hope. And again, remember, hope is what was left for Pandora when all was taken away from her, when all the chaos and all the hurt and all the pain became a blight upon the world. Hope was what was left for humanity. And so we look at that hope, we look at that joy, we look at that sense of This is what I need. This is what I want. This is who I am. And we hold fast to that dream. And during this time, it might sound odd to say, but it's time to be a little bit selfish with our dreams. And it's not what can happen for everybody else, but it's like, where do I want to be? How do I want to move forward? What is it that I greatly desire? And we can see it, if we have a family, we can see it in conjunction with our family, with the people that we love. But it's also looking at the individual and ourselves quite succinctly. And it leads us to this place of, because we're completing a cycle of the 10 of Cups, but it leads us to this place of death, rebirth, reawakening, greater understanding, greater looking at things. There's a sense of, oh, but this is more. This is more than I imagined. This is more than I anticipated. This guides me forward. And it also is the great equalizer. You have here, and it's so interesting, we have the pillars. And this always makes me think of the moon card right in the back right there. But we have here the fear. We have here the great equalizer, that no one is quite safe from what death brings. And so as we move forward, we're going to be seeing that. Nobody is safe from the death and the rebirth and the resurrection of the self and of life and of desire and of truth. And there is no bargaining with fate. There just isn't. We can be as rich as kings, and still there is no bargaining with the death card. There isn't. So during this time, we're going to see that what we truly desire, what we truly need, starts coming forward. We start to see what we question. We start to see what we long for. We start to see what we are looking for. It's that sense of who I was is not who I am now. And there is a mourning period for that. It's like, okay, well, I changed. Why did I have to change? I liked the more naive me. I liked the more innocent me. I liked the person who didn't have all the worries and the doubts and the fears. But the person we are now is the person we are meant to be for whatever reason along our path. And so as we have this understanding of this shift, we're going to start to look at all the things that died away, all the changes that have come forward that don't help us. They don't help us at all. There are failures. It's like, why didn't I do this in this time? Why didn't I get that done in this time? How can I move forward? Where do I want to be? I can't believe that I messed up. And we're going to be rather hard on ourselves. So the Five of Cups says, change your mind and change your life. Change what you are focusing on, and you will change what you are getting. Turn around. See the Minor Arcana Lover's card. See the unity. See the connection. See the brilliance. See the communication. And that is going to lead us to us being a student of how we move forward into the world. That's going to be something that we're very focused on during this time. How do I move forward? Where do I want to be? How do I embrace the true essence of what I want? How do I open up these doors? So we become a student. We become a student of our passion, of our desires. We become a student of our inclinations. We look at things and we start to see the salamanders here. Some of them are open completely, some of them are closed. So we will have moments. So this is the Ouroboros of, the dragon eating its tail. It could be a salamander, it could be a dragon. What happens is we have moments of connecting with our intellect and us devouring ourselves. That's how we come into the state of constant rebirth and death and embracing and embodying and regeneration of ideas and spirit and desire. But also then we have the moments of feeling like, I don't know anything. What the heck is going on here? I feel overwhelmed. I'm not sure. So there is a sense of so much information, so much knowledge coming to us, and this sense of wisdom and desire and looking and learning and yearning. And it's going to lead us to the Magician. It's like, okay, you can spend your whole life, and we do, as students, as people who are learning, as people who are developing. We also spend our whole lives as children, whether our parents are alive or not. So there is a power to those statements. And when we stand before the altar of our existence, we start to claim what we know. And if we are truly powerful, we also start to state what we don't know, the mysteries that we haven't solved, the passions that we have, but we don't know how to resolve. And so with the Magician, the standing before the altar of our creation, the looking at things honestly and openly and passionately and truly for ourselves, we start to see as above, so below. As you believe it, so it becomes. What you are passionate about guides you. What you work towards leads you. And there's a real sense of this here during this time. There's a real sense of more is coming. There's a real sense of tenacity and introspection, but also of claiming and being seen. At the same time, it's not wanting to be seen. So we have to have this balance coming in. And it leads us to the hermit. It leads us to needing to step back. As much as we are public, as much as we are looking at our passion, our sensuality, the erotic, the beautiful, the pure, the expressive, the calm, the beautiful, we look at what we don't want anybody to see. We pull back. We step back. And we say, where is it that I want to be? How is it that I want to move forward? What is it that I desire? And how can I calm the world? And it's looking at the wishes that we have, the hopes that we have, the dreams that we have that can illuminate our way. What is life but a series of hopes, a series of desires? Even when life is at its darkest moments, the way that we pull up, the way that we keep going is that there is brightness, there is beauty, there is light at the end of the tunnel. And as we're moving towards that light, that sense of truth and self and desire and understanding, we move more closely to the alignment of our truth, of where we want to be, of what's right for us and what isn't right for us. It's kind of like figuring out what looks good. You know, you can see something, you can see a piece of clothing on a person and think, oh, that looks absolutely amazing. You go and you get the exact same piece of clothing or something astoundingly similar. You try it on, it looks horrible on you. It's because it's not right for you. It doesn't suit your body the way it suits the other person's body, or their personality the way it suits your personality. So there are all these different layers to existence. And we learn it slowly and steadily with fashion, with, with what we want from life, with what we desire, with how we express ourselves. But we also have to learn it inwardly with the dreams that we have and the hopes that we want and the way that we want to move forward within our lives. It's not one size fits all. There is a variety here. And it comes through meditation. It comes through quiet. It comes through introspection. It comes through the embrace of, there's a poem. It's the embrace of the inevitable. And it's the 6 feet of earth makes us all of one size. And it's just saying that nobody is above anybody else. And it's that statement, I don't believe I'm better than anyone. I just don't believe anybody is better than me. And so it's kind of like, I believe in the equal playing field. And here, there is that beauty coming forward that says, I'm illuminating the way. And to illuminate the way towards what we wish, what we desire, is again to say, I don't believe I'm better than anyone. I just don't believe anybody's better than me. To have their wishes, to have their desires. And that's what makes us an emperor. That's what has us sitting on our throne. That's what has us rooted in our passion and our intrigue and our determination and where we want to be and what we long for and what we're seeing and what we're, gaining an understanding of. There's a sense of, I'm not taking anybody's bull. I'm done with the nonsense. I'm done with the lies. I'm done with the hurts. I'm done with the pain. I'm taking control of the situation. And I'm doing so because it's my life and I have every right to. And then it moves us to the 6 of Wands, celebration, success, beauty, a sense of, I get to celebrate me. And it might have been, and it might be years upon years or decades since we actually celebrated ourselves, since joy came in, since beauty came forward. And then that sense of, I'm going to celebrate me. I'm going to say, job well done. I'm going to look at what I've accomplished and where I want to be and be proud of who I am. And it leads us to being students. Students of our mind, students of our breath, students of our intellect. It leads us to cutting through fears, looking at things more honestly, more openly for ourselves, starting to know. Also, this is training. So the cup, the wand, it could be a walking stick, it can be a drinking cup, but a sword is a weapon, and a sword will always be a weapon. And nobility was trained in the sword. Commoners were not allowed to have them. So here, when we embrace this nobility of action, this nobility of taking up arms and saying, this is what I want, we're acknowledging the nobleness of ourselves. We're also looking at what we desire, where we want to be. We're looking at, and we're asking different questions. We're starting to see ourselves more openly, more honestly than we have seen ourselves before. But we're also looking at what we have worked towards. What have we been training towards? What have we been, coming up against time and time again in our lives? And how are we looking at things differently? It brings us to the world opening. The world opening in a way that we hadn't seen it, in a way that we hadn't understood it, in a way that we didn't always know where we stood within it, or what exactly our role was or is. And though that role can constantly change, there's a beauty in understanding that there's a place for us. And to look at that role in celebration, in majesty, in connection, in victory. And so we start to look at the world, and instead of feeling like it's going to eat us alive, or to step into it would be to lose ourselves, or to, like, I'm not ready. Everybody else knows more, is more. It's like, no, I am ready. There's beauty here, but I have to have patience. I have to have patience for what I planted to come forward. I have to have patience for the payoff to come, because it's still a long road. It's still hard and overwhelming at times, but it is intrinsically beautiful. And so if we have this patience, if we believe, and we cultivate, and we grow, and we see, and we learn, and we become, that's when the joy comes in. That's when we realize, oh, but this is what I want. This is what I need. This is what I long for. This is who I am. It brings us to our Lunar Message. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides. Angels. Confidence is key to success. Nothing will come of the situation. So what we have planned, that will not come, or it'll be further off. A time to give rather than to take. Your commitment is being tested. Be bold and make the first move. Bring love into the situation. Confidence is key, is the key to success. Confidence is key during this time. It's like, I believe in my dreams. I believe in beauty and power and understanding of me. I know it will be hard work. I know it's, it's a long road, but I am moving towards this. And I am confident. Confidence is not arrogance. Confidence is not bullying. Confidence is seeing our worth. It's acknowledging the God's head within us. It is seeing the power of our souls and what we desire and what we long for and our worth here on this earth. And it leads us to nothing will come of the situation, which sounds counterproductive and silly, but it really is quite beautiful, because as our confidence is key to success, what we thought would come would not. So we kind of have to relinquish control, and again, thy will be done type of statement, and see what comes of it. Because if we fight it, if we say, I have this plan and it's going to be like this, it will all fall apart. This moon brings a bit of mystery to it, because that's the Scorpio way. And it's a time to give rather than to take. It is a time to give of information. It's a time to ask the questions. It's a time to see what will develop, rather than just hoarding away everything. It brings us to our commitment is being tested, and it is. Are we committed to ourselves? Are we committed to the power that is brought to us? Are we committed to our dreams and our desires and what we want and what we long for? Or do we need to take a time out? And that doesn't mean that we're not committed. It just means that we can say, you know what, pause. I need a time out. I need a break. I need to reevaluate what I want, what I desire, who I am, what I need. And then my commitment, I can come back stronger and better, and with more wisdom than I had before. So know that it's not like I have to go full force all the time. Sometimes we need to step back. Be bold and make the first move. In our lives, in what we desire, nobody's going to give us the throne. We have to take it. The emperor always makes me think of Macbeth. Okay, and what's really interesting about Macbeth is one of the underlying currents in Macbeth is not, simply, murder and everything like that. But one of the underlying currents is the fact that Scotland, you became king, like you took the throne. And in England, the throne was hereditary. So it's the sense of, is this inherited, or is this taken? Because I'm the best person for the job, or at least I was the most ruthless at that time. And you could make the argument either way, kind of like the Scottish way a little bit. It seems like it's more earned. But there's a sense here of, am I taking what is mine? Am I going after it? Or am I just simply getting what is inherited? And it doesn't mean that getting what's inherited is bad. It just means that there are different attributes to it. There's a different way to it, okay? So be bold and make the first move. Be bold and go after what we want, what we desire. And look at it. Like, am I being bold and making the first move? What seems like for the first time in my life, like taking control and saying, this is what I want and this is what I need. Or have I been striving for that throne, and working for it for so long, like going after it with a single-minded focus. Where do I stand now? And has it been a little bit of both? Because sometimes it is. It's this beautiful tapestry. Bring love into the situation. Because without love during this time, there's nothing. You are crowned as a student of love. So if you do not have love, you will not learn. All right? So that's going to be very important. The subconscious lunar message is Taurus. So that beautiful Taurus energy that was so strong says your dreams need a practical plan. And they do. And they do. They need a practical plan. They need the feet firmly planted on the ground. They need steadfastness and loyalty to self and soul. And when we have that plan, when we have that desire, we start to see ourselves more. We start to see where we want to be, how we want to be. And it moves us then deeper into the lunar element of faith. Faith that things will grow as they need to. Faith that we will move forward, empowered and with insight and ideas. And it brings us then also faith that I don't know everything and I won't know everything. To the subconscious, and that's clarity. This is the third eye chakra. Things start to become clear because we're not seeing things the way that we always had. So we start to see things differently. And that starts to embolden us. That starts to move us forward. And it brings us then to our subconscious person message, which is the Queen of Pentacles. We have to be mindful of not falling into the trap that if it cannot be quantitated, I think that's the right word, if it cannot be counted, it doesn't matter. And this is a time where we start to look at things and we start to say, well, what's the worth of it? Not only money, but quality of life. Like, where do I want to be? How do I want to be? What am I moving towards and for? And it brings us then to our subconscious tarot message, which is the Knight of Pentacles. Slowly and steadily moving towards our goals, moving towards what we want. It takes patience, but the wealth comes, the payoff comes, the blessing comes. Again, it links us with the new moon on the 11th of May. And this becomes a bit of a warrior time. This becomes a time where we start to see things more clearly, more honestly. All right, Sagittarius, I hope this reading has resonated with you. I wish you nothing but light, love, peace, and happiness. May harmony always be with you. I'm sending loving, healing energy to each and every one of you. I love you all and stay safe. Let's end this reading with a meditation, a clearing away of negative energy, a raising of our positive energy as we embrace this beauty, as we embrace the beauty of this pink supermoon. So take a nice deep breath in, exhaling whenever it feels comfortable for you. May you move forward in peace and in harmony, Sagittarius. And may you have a blessed moon.